Alright, the guy here is a string line, and I hope I'm going to be able to see it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here, and you see I'm at approximately 7 inches here, if you can read this. I'm hoping you can. And then what I'm going to do is get down at the other end here, and I'll explain the aluminum foil here in a minute. And I'm going to put it here, and I'm at a little over 7 inches. I'm at about 7 1/4 inches. Okay, so actually this is in favor of the globe and not in favor of my flatter test. Alright, now also I got this string line running all the way over into my empty lot. Let me see if I can I had this thing on a loop and it seemed to die on me. But anyhow, there's the pole, and it says 169. I hope you can read it. So I'm 169 foot string line. Now the board is 7 foot. I measured that in a previous video, and that's one thing that we can always count on, is if you were trying to get down level with the plane of the board, it's going to be hard to determine the length of it at the plane. So I'm going to cut back over here and then show you one other thing. If my camera keeps recording, which it should. I said I don't know why it shut off. Maybe I bumped the button with my finger. But I've got this thing called a button light, and you just flip it on and I get a light on it. Now during the day here you're not going to see it. The other thing is I've got my other GoPro camera set up right here at the edge of the board, and I've got my lens set right on the very edge. Now, I mean, to scale, at this end it's 7 inches, and at that end it's 7 1/4. So my string is actually going upward. Plus it does have a little bit of a sag in it, so it's actually again more to the favor of the globe, okay, to the ball. But even my lens here on this camera could actually be cut in half, and I'd get even a little bit lower. But I'm going to put the lens right on the very edge of it like that. And what I'm going to do when it gets a little bit darker out is I'm going to take this little light, and I'm going to run it down the string while I have that camera on. Okay, so this would be a good little test to do as far as for a sunset. Now with the aluminum that I've got at the end of the board, my aluminum is going to act as a plane of water, and I got a little bitty edge right here where I've got it kind of like a wave or a swell out in the ocean. Okay, so I don't want to hide that from you. I want to bring it right out and show you that it does stick up a little bit. And I'm gonna just do it a little bit, not a whole lot, maybe like 1/4 of an inch or so, so that way it has a little bit of rise to it, a little bit of bubble. And as you look, aluminum foil ain't perfectly straight anyhow. It ain't perfectly flat on there, so I'm gonna try to create the ripples of water with this aluminum foil. All right. Now again, I'm gonna wait till it gets a little darker out, because right now it's a little too much light for you to even follow this light. And let me turn this light off before I kill my battery. And I did a test with this one already, where I did a time-lapse video with my Nikon, and I might put that also with this video. But hopefully it don't rain. We do got some clouds in our sky, and I don't want my board to get all wet, so I might have to come out here and pull it up. I hope not, because I want to just leave it just as it sets. And if I had a decent tarp, I'd come out here and put it over the top of everything. But right now I'm just going to pray it don't rain. Alright, thanks. I appreciate you watching. And, well, we'll go after this, and I will try to set this one up as a looker. Okay, I told you to have the other camera as a looker camera. So I'm going to use this portion right here as a looker. Don't ask me why the video looks like it's throbbing, like there's a heartbeat to it. I have no idea what was causing that. Maybe I had it on my tripod, and I have a remote control. It's a wire. Maybe it was dangling and swinging. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up. But between me and that string line, there is a fence, and I'm sorry about it. You know, when I was measuring it out, that part of the video was cut off, so you didn't get to see me actually measure from one end to the other. But it was approximately 170 feet, 169. This lookout camera, I did zoom it in a little bit, so you'd have an idea of this button light and the string. And then at the end, I will show you the results from the camera sitting at the edge of the table. But meanwhile, I wanted to just do this, so you'll see the light go down to the end, and then I have to walk around my fence to go through a side gate to finish taking it to the end. But then when I get to the end, I put my hand over it and shut the light off, or get the light out of the lens so you can't see it. That is a sign for me that I went all the way to the end. Maybe I won't speed this up, but maybe I'll speed some of the other parts up in here, just to give you an idea, or to, you know, actually speed the video up. You know, when you're doing a test, it takes some time, so even if I leave all the footage up, this is about an hour long. Now you've seen me walk away. I'm walking around the fence, and I'm going to get on the other side, and I'm going to finish taking the string line to the end of the string line, which, like I said, it's 170 feet away, 169 if you want to get right down technical. But yes, the string line does have a little bit of a sag in it, but you also got to remember, when I get to the end, that sag is actually going up, because I made the string line go upward, not downward. But you know, when I'm in the middle, it probably does sag a little bit, and then when I get back up to the very end, it's going actually upward, that extra quarter of an inch. So, you know, I tried to make this as fair as possible, and, you know, actually to the advantage of Earth being a ball instead of being a flat plane. Actually, it's a flat plane, but, you know, my string is going upward, not downward. And when I show you the footage at the very end with the camera sitting at the table's edge, you will notice a difference. Now, I do that two different ways. One, I use the 4x zoom on it, and then one I do without the 4x zoom. So
you know, this is an experiment that I did. Now you see that the light's out. That's me. I made it to the end. Then I take my hand back off the light because I think I just stuck my hand up there and blocked it out. I didn't actually turn it off. But this is me working my way back. Um, and you'll see I'll get to a certain point, have to stop, walk back around the fence. And I tried to do this with enough light to where it wasn't too bright and it wasn't too dark to where you couldn't see me. But I guess when I get over to the on the other side of the fence, I'm not in the picture no more. You can't see me even though I'm wearing a white shirt. Maybe I should have wore a glowing shirt or something. But the next part's fixing to come up. Yeah, my light fell off the string. I got it hooked with a paper clip. So I put it back on. And I think I was right at the fence at that point. And I have this loop, so the next part's going to be me coming back. And I thought I had a transition in there, but maybe it hasn't gotten to that yet. But you can see it's getting a little darker as I go through this little test. Maybe you'll see me walk around, get the light. Yeah, here I am. I start pulling the light again. You can see me off to the right-hand side. I'm pulling the light back to the camera. So I take it all the way down and then I bring it back up to simulate a sunset and a sunrise. Now, my string wasn't really long enough. Here, my light falls off the string again. Uh, so I had, like I said, done another test, but I actually can't find the footage. I was going to post that first. Maybe I made an unlisted video. I will go down through my unlisted video and see if I can't find it. Because I don't know. I might have lost the footage when I lost one of my hard drives. But here I am pulling that string line back up. And I pause it. Just to see what it looks like right there in front of my camera. Again, you got to be patient with this test because it's not something I can just do immediately. And if you think about looking at the sun when it's directly above you, and then as it gets farther and farther from you, it does lose some of its brightness, especially when it hits the horizon. It loses a lot of that brightness, so you don't see. But this is kind of what we'd see if we looked directly up straight at the sun when it was directly above us. Hard to look at it if you consider it being a lot brighter than this. This is just a little LED button light. I do believe I said that in the very beginning. And the red light off to the right hand side is just a lens flare. Like I said, I could speed this up, skip a bunch of parts. Right here I break out a flashlight because I just thought maybe it would help see that string line too. I don't know what the hell I'm actually doing with that. Oh, okay. This is a ruler that I was using to slide the stick down the string line. And I do believe this time I just go to the end, to the fence. Let me see. Like I said, I don't narrate these. I don't write this down. I just wing it as I'm going through the video. Apparently I had this either in a case and you couldn't hear me talking, or I just had the sound turned off. Maybe I wasn't even talking. But one of these parts, I do talk. You'll hear me, and I'll probably just leave that audio on there, as long as I'm explaining it right as far as what I'm doing. Okay. I think you can still see me in here off to the right hand side. And what I might do also is I could brighten up the screen a little bit. Maybe you can see me. I'll try that after I'm done doing the video. But I don't want to really manipulate the footage very much. But if I just brighten up the screen, it's not really manipulating it. It's just giving you a little better view of me out in the field, walking around the fence and taking that light to the end. All right. I'm not sure if I'm taking it all the way to the end again or not. If I do, you'll see me, you'll put my hand over it and block out the light. I think I am taking it to the end. Yep, I took it to the end again. I did this twice for a reason, just to make sure that I was doing it right. And again, I'm bringing it back. And like I said, I could speed it up a little bit. Maybe I will on this part. Maybe I'll double the speed. All right, let me double the speed on this. Okay, I doubled up the speed on this, make it a little bit shorter. It's not going to make it by much. I just sped it up twice the speed. So again, you know, I'm going to be bringing this light back toward this camera. Yeah, I could put in some funky music, or you know, play some you know, other audio, but I'd rather kind of talk you through it. Here I've made it back around to the light again, and here I dropped it again. Stick it back on there. So I'm dragging it back toward the other camera, and like I said, I'm moving it fast. And I'll pause it, I believe, right here. No, I bring it all the way up. Again, you know, you see how the light rays are when it's directly above you. Anybody with a camera goes out and, you know, zooms in on the sun when it's directly above them, will notice that, you know, there's a lot more bright light to it. That was me. I was checking the camera, make sure it was still running and the battery was on. And here I'm gonna move the light back down towards the end of the board. I watched this already, but of course I didn't have any audio with some of it, so I wanted to talk through it anyhow. Again, there's that lens flare to the right. Whether that means anything or not, I don't know, but you know, could have something to do with the whole experiment. Might not. I'm not going to claim that it does. And here I was, actually the battery did die in that camera, so here I am changing the battery out. And I was kind of ticked off because I was like, man, I was for sure I had a full battery in this camera, and it should have lasted longer than what it did. So I guess I'm glad I put this part in so you could actually see. And this is at regular speed here. It ended in one video where I was made it twice as fast. So here, once I get this other battery back in, I check it, make sure that it's flat and level on the table, because I don't want it pointed downward. I want it level as possible. And of course I turn it back on, and then I think I'm going to do this test all over again. We'll find out here in a second. Again, I watched it, but I have to think about what I was actually doing. And this other little light off to the side, I think it was because I was holding a flashlight and it was shining on the ground out on the lawn, or I was blocking out the flashlight. All right, here I go trying it again. I'm going to pause the video for a second here, or at least my audio, and speed this part up again. Hang on. Okay, I sped this part up again. So you're going to see me go to the end. And you can also see how much darker it got. And of course I gotta stop, pause, walk around the fence, and get a hold of the light again and take it to the end. All right. And I'll probably do the same thing. I'll either shut the light off or put my hand over it to block out the light when I make it to the end of my string. That was just to let me know that I got to the end of my string line. I actually wish I would have made this a lot longer, the string, because I think I would have acquired what I wanted to. But of course, the longer I make this string, the more sag I get in it. So then I have to account for the sag, which, then I'm giving more of an advantage to the ball earth. All right, this part here got slowed back down to normal speed. I do believe I stopped here. I'm walking around the fence again, and I'm going to speed it up again. Give me a second here. Okay, I sped it up again, 2 times speed. I do want to kind of cut this a little bit less than an hour. Again, you may see me lose the light off the string. And I try to keep the string as level as possible. I'm not trying to pull down or nothing on it. I'm just trying to slide it along. If anything, I'm actually lifting the string up. And here is where I pause it at the end of the table. And you can even tell from, just the angle that I'm on, that light appears to be getting lower and lower from the angle. Due to perspective, anything getting farther away from is going to appear to start going downward. And this is really what I show as far as perspective wise. Even though, like I say, it's 2 parallel lines. The table's making a parallel line, and then of course you've got the string that's above it. That's the parallel line that's going farther beyond the horizon line that the end of the board makes. Okay, so that's the whole idea to this experiment. Now, Anybody can try this. I'm hoping actually this gives some other people some ideas to try themselves. And maybe next time I'll use some fishing line. Get me a nice big long spool of fishing line. Maybe find a bigger field to where I can set this whole setup again. And there I turn the light off or I block it out. And then I'm going to come back with it. I'm going to probably pause it again and speed this next part up to the video, because this is just me running it back and forth and doing it a couple of times. Okay, here I go again. I sped this part back up 2 times speed. Because again, I want to try to cut this video a little bit shorter. Here's me, I get around the fence, start dragging that line back again. Like I said, I'm speeding it up. Again, I leave it at the end of the table, and then I finish moving it forward. And I'm going to move it around a little bit. And I think this next part, I just take it to the end of my fence line, and then I bring it back again. I could probably cut this part out, but I'm going to go ahead and show you all the footage that I did. I didn't really want to cut anything out to try to deceive anybody. So I want them to see the whole experiment that I did. And that's why I showed you the setup while it was still light out. So you could basically see what I was up to and how I was doing this test. And like I said, I suggest, any average person do this test. The only thing that I can't reproduce is the atmosphere, which kind of makes the sun appear the same size all the way to the horizon. If there was some fog, which this is the time of the season where I start getting some fog, either early in the morning or late at night. And maybe I'll try to do this test on a foggy night. I still got kind of the setup out there, so I can just rerun the string. But like I said, I might do it with fishing string. It might work out better. Maybe I won't get quite as much sag, because I think this string line that builders use, it has a lot of weight to it. So maybe fishing line won't have as much weight. Hit some heavier test line, and maybe I can make that a lot tighter. All right, I'm going to get into some of the original audio. So let me see what that says and see if it goes along with the video. All right, again, thanks for watching. And we're going to record. Now, I'm hoping, I don't know how much I got of the last one, but we're going to do it all over again. This time I'm going to start zoomed out at ×4 on this 7-foot board. Alright, here I wanted to do it at 2 different zooms. So this part, I use my GoPro to zoom in at 4 times zoom, and you can see right off the bat, of course I'm moving this much faster than what we would see. So, the sun's slowly moving away from us. At least it always appears to be. 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. Takes 12 hours for the sun to rise and fall in reality, and I'm doing it much faster. So again, this is a much quicker video. Again, I could speed it up, but I want you to see the whole experiment on a 4x zoom. And of course, you can see that little bit of aluminum foil at the end of the board. It was only a couple of feet of aluminum. I might also try to do this, with some reflective material all the way across the board. In due time, I will try this experiment again. Like I said, I'd like to find a longer field to make a longer string. Use a different type of string to where I can put some real tightness to it. I know this string broke once on me, so of course I had to rerun another line and tighten it all back up again. And it takes a lot of time to get these two, the board and the string line, parallel. And again, like I said, I made this in the advantage of the globe and not so much of the flat earth. All right, I shut the light off. I turned it back on. I'm bringing it back again. And of course, I'll have to stop, walk around my fence line, slide that light along again with my ruler and bring it back to the board. I did lighten up the screen, put some light or added some brightness to it so you can see it a little bit better. Again, you still can't see me out there because I'm kind of in the tree line, and the tree line's a lot darker. So I'm not really standing out. At least I don't believe I am, because I'm watching it on a smaller screen. Here I got a bug or something running across my table. I have no idea what it is. It could be a palmetto bug. It could be a anything. Heck, I don't know. We'll see. It might run to the end of the board as I bring this light closer. Let's see what it is. Like I said, it could be a palmetto bug, or it could be some kind of a flying insect or something. I'm not really sure what it is. That's even if you noticed it. All right, here I start. Yep, it looks like a palmetto bug or something. Again, I'm bringing the light back. Bring it right to the end of the board.
All right, I do want to say this too.
And then you're going to start hearing me talk. So I'll let myself talk.
I'm going to stop it at the end of the table where the aluminum foil is. But this is not to any particular scale or anything. This is just showing perspective of a light leading away from you parallel to your plane. Okay, now moving it back forward and past the camera. Now, I want to do this again. I don't have much life left on this back camera here, but I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to zoom back a little bit with this camera here. Actually, I'm going to zoom all the way back. There's a innocent bystander on the beach. Actually, a little ways off the beach. And if anybody wants to try to use this and do some calculation from it, get the measurements to it, or I already did actually.
All right, you might have needed to turn up the sound a little bit for part of that. This part here, of course, I pulled the zoom back to normal zoom. And again, you know, you can watch the light, how it definitely gets closer and closer to the horizon line. Like I said, I wish I had um, a longer string line, because I don't think that the light does quite go beyond our line of sight. But like I said, I'm hoping actually that this gives people some ideas to do themselves, and you know, go out there and try it, test it, see what you come up with, um, because that's what this is for. This isn't just to make you believe me. This is for you to go out and test it yourself, see what you come up with. Like I said, the only thing I can't reproduce is the atmosphere, which could magnify, lens the light and make the light look a bit brighter. Um, or even if I would have had a brighter light, that might have made a big difference. All right, I'm at the end. Again, I'm not trying to fool anybody. It didn't go beyond. Now I turn the light back on, or take my hand off of it, because I was at the end of the board, or at the end of my string line, not that it went out of your sight. Okay, so again, if I would have had a longer board or a longer string line and went further with this, I do believe it would have went beyond our line of sight, beyond our perspective of the height of the camera, in comparison to the board. But remember that the board and the string line are parallel, and this was also in the favor of the globe, because the string line does have a sag in it. So it is higher at the far back end than it is behind me. Okay, so that's why I made it to where it was 7 inches at the beginning and 7¼ inches at the end, was to make up for the sag. But I also didn't take into consideration that at the other end it was even going to be higher yet, because it's sagging and then it goes upward. All right, so you know, imagine if I had this string line perfectly level, then that light would have went beyond my line of sight, all due to perspective. Okay, and then when we're looking out over the open water, we have other things to take into consideration, and it is that mirroring effect, that miraging effect. I like to call it a mirroring effect because mirage is derived from the word mirror. Here I am again, bringing it back, and then you'll start hearing me talk again. Again, you might have to turn it up so you can hear me. I'm going to stop so you can try to listen to the original audio.
Looks like. And now I'm going to continue it. Looks like I got a dead spider on my table too. Okay. Said I hope my video is still running, which it is. Alright, I had no idea what that look thing. But like I said, this is just an experiment. I will give the dimensions of this. And the board is 7 foot. So my camera is right at the edge of the, right here. You can kind of see where I'm pointing. That's the GoPro camera. And it's sitting right on the edge of that table, or that board that's 7 foot long. The string is up 7 inches at the camera side, 7¼ at the far end. So the string is actually going upward. And plus the string is on an upward incline anyhow. All right, I was able to get a lot of slack that I had in there out of it by just keep tightening it and tightening it and tightening it. I was worried that it was going to break as I was pulling the string along, causing some friction, but it didn't. All right, well, I don't know how that's going to turn out, so hopefully we'll find out. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to turn these 2 lights off behind the camera here and try it one more time just to the fence line. And I think that was 85 feet, something like that, to the fence. Again, I'm going to let it set right there at the end of the table. Still got both batteries going. So again, I have no idea what this is going to look like until I go in there and review. And I'm going to have double audio. I don't really know what to do with the double audio. Because one camera's on audio too, I believe. But we'll see what this footage looks like. I'm going to bring it to the end of the plastic first camera again. So again, actually, that looks pretty cool on camera, my little button light. Now again, my string line was 165, I think it was, or 160 foot. And I got maybe a couple of feet before the actual camera, so we can say 158 feet, or depending, it's 163 feet. All right, let's go see what it looks like.